Today we're talking about quilting rulers, how I store them, some helpful hints with regard to that storage, and what would be the ones you'd want to start off with if you're just beginning. My favorites, I'll give you the reasons why they're my favorites. And so first off, I'm going to start with, this is how I store my large rulers. They're on my wall in my sewing room. I purchased this hanger at a quilt show that had vendors. Unfortunately, his name is not anywhere on it. I would love to give him credit and give him business because this is a fantastic holder. It is made out of wood. They had different choices of wood. This particular one holds 15 rulers. There was larger ones and I think smaller ones, so depending on what size you might have needed. So just maybe look out when you're going to a quilt show if there's vendors and see if they're selling those, or maybe try to find it online. As you can see, there's slots on the side so that when you're sliding them in, they go in an angle and they just balance each other as they go. This again is how I do my large rulers. Now let me show you my small rulers. I store my smaller rulers in one of my desk drawers next to my sewing station. These are by IKEA, and I have them in here in this drawer. And I do keep them in containers, and I will explain to you why. This is my second tip to you. Not only the vertical storage on your wall, but now with this drawer, I would keep every single instruction that goes with the particular ruler together with its ruler, because if you can see by these, there's so many different kinds of rulers I've purchased along the way, and I have the instructions in on each of them, because there's no way you're going to remember how to use these rulers at a later date. So I just keep them here with their instructions. I save bags in case they don't come with the bag, and then I can put them in it. But you can see over the years, I've purchased many different specialty rulers. And you don't have to start with these, but along the way when you make projects, you will find that you're going to need some specialty rulers. I would purchase those as you need them, and then you'll be able to use them on the project at hand and learn the ruler very nicely. See, in this particular bag, I have no instructions with these. I didn't remember to keep them, so that might make things just a bit difficult. When I go back to try, I'll have to go on YouTube, figure them out again. And then I keep instructions in this one, that rulers that I use all the time. This is the one I use for when I'm doing my applique, paper piecing. And this one here is up on the wall, so I really don't want to put it with it. So I just keep those by themselves. And then in another package here, you can see, oops, sorry, let me unzip that. Pardon the angle here. I have all of these square rulers. And I do this because lots of times when I'm trying to fussy cut, I need a particular, oh geez, let me just stop this and start again. My apologies for that. I keep these, they're 2.5 to 6.5, and I just have every side graduating up. And I use these to fussy cut sometimes if I really want a particular square, you know, when I'm working on a quilt and I like a pattern on a print and I just want a certain size. That's what I do. And sometimes I will square up a square using these different rulers. Generally not. I use a bigger ruler to do that, but they have come in an occasion where I might need them. So I've got all of those, and I just keep them in that one package. Now I'm going to talk about my two favorite rulers. First off, my favorite brand of ruler is this particular one. Most of what I've purchased along the way are Omni grids, and of late I really happen to like these creative grids better. And if I was to, I'm not going to replace rulers I already have, but if I was to purchase them originally, this is the brand I would go with because they're very clearly marked. You can see dark and light fabric through them. Sometimes when you're working with the other ones that have the colors in there, either this yellow coloring or this green coloring, it's just distracting when you're trying to find your spot in there. So this is the brand I would go with if you were to purchase them. They do run a little bit more, but I feel like they're worth it. Not only because of the clarity of the ruler and the marking is great, but also they have these little grippy things on the back so that you have been going close. I don't know if you're going to be able to see it or not. If it can focus. There we go. There's like little grippers on here so that when you are cutting your fabric, pardon that little whoo, it won't move. I shouldn't say it won't move. It moves less. Every ruler will move, but this one will move less because it grips the fabric. So this particular size ruler, which is an 8.5 by 12.5, is my favorite, and I work with this ruler 90% of the time. It's small enough that when you're holding it, your hand can really hold on. Of course, I'll talk about an accessory I use, but your hand can be on the mat and on the ruler and holding it very stiff so it doesn't move. And if you're making shortcuts or small squares, this is the one I really, really like. The other ruler that I like, and again, it's an Omni Edge. It's longer. This particular one is 24 by 5. And I don't worry so much about the width, although that does come into play. It's because of the length. You can cut when you purchase your fabric, and it's usually a 41 or 42 inch wide fabric, and they have it folded in half. You can cut from the bottom to the top to get your straight edge to start with, and then you work from there when you're cutting your fabric. In my particular room, I have it set up. I have more than one cutting table, but this small cutting table that's next to my sewing machine, I use a lot because I can bump this up to the edge of the wall. And so it will not move. This ruler's not moving on a long strip. And of course, when I get close to the end, I can't hit the wall. Then I'll move the fabric, shift the fabric a little bit, and finish my cut. Because then I can hold that ruler way up here very nicely. And that's why I particularly like this length. And of course, then when you're working, most strips that you're cutting are less than 5 inches. And obviously you can go longer, and that's a whole nother cutting lesson. But most of them, this ruler will work great with. The first product I'm going to talk about as an accessory is this one by Quilt with Marcy Baker, and it's called Cutting Edge. And there's these repositionable strips that you get in this package. You actually get 10 strips. And what you do is you place them on your ruler wherever you want it. Like this particular one, I want to cut 2.5 inch strips. So I can place it right on the line, and of course I place it underneath on the back side. And I line that up right on that line so that I know that I've got that accurately straight. And then when I get my fabric and I'm cutting and I have my straight edge going, this particular ruler you put on, with those strips on, you put on there and you bump it against it. You see how that moves the whole fabric really? This isn't going to move. And now this is going to be accurately at what I've just positioned it at. So I can just slice away and then move the ruler, slice away. So you don't have to keep remembering where it is on the ruler you got to cut and how far over and where's the edge. It's very nice because it bumpers right along. And then you just keep reusing those strips. The next product I'm going to talk about is the Klutz glove. It's by Fons and Porter, and it looks like this. And because of this, the way that they have made this material, you can't cut through with your rotary cutter. So trust me, I've already done that once. Lesson learned, got the glove. It really can take off a finger. People have lost a finger from that. So if you're working with the smaller ruler and you're going to use your rotary cutter, of course I can't use it because I'm taping, but say I'm going to cut here with my rotary cutter, I can hold on to this with my Klutz glove on my hand, and I can hold it very steadily. And should I go off with my rotary cutter over to this side, it won't cut my finger. Now, there's many times my finger is even closer because it's a smaller ruler. And so it's pretty scary. If you've ever done it once, you will never want to do it again. The third product I'm going to talk about, you can actually purchase these that are made for quilting specifically for rulers. I, on the other hand, trying to save some money, and it actually worked, is I bought this at the Bed Bath & Beyond. It's really to be gripping in the shower. But what you do is you get your ruler and you suction it onto this so that it'll, you know, you have to unsnap these. And you place it on there and you push down and you push down on these. Now, of course, it's hard to do with one hand, but I'm not going to be able to do it with one hand. Once you snap these down, then this holds on to your ruler. It's already doing it a little bit. And so you can push down on this as you're cutting instead of holding it with your hand. Many people like this. I personally, it seems to interfere with what I'm looking at. This is an optional, you can try it type of thing, or ask other people who have used it. Maybe that might be a good option for you. I hope this video has been helpful. If it has, please give me a thumbs up and give me a like. That'd be greatly appreciated. If you haven't subscribed to my channel, please do so. I'm going to be having additional videos coming up with regards to organization in a sewing room, and also some tutorials with regards to quilting. If there's any questions with regard to anything I talked about today, please leave the comment down below and I'll get back with you as soon as possible. Thanks.